Hey everyone, it is finally here, that day where we are heading off to South Africa. I don't know about you, but neither of us slept very well last night, did we?
No, too excited.
Work's finished, bags are packed, and we're heading off to the airport shortly. Now, there's two things we really want to cover in this vlog because there's so many seat reviews and so on. But Qatar is notorious for changing the seat configuration. So if you know anything about Qatar, beautiful airline, and we're lucky enough to be flying business, and James will explain how we have done that in a moment. But they have the QSuites, which are amazing, almost like first class compartments. But it is a bit of a lottery because you think you've booked a QSuite and then you end up in a different plane because Qatar is notorious for changing their, what do you call it, their hardware, their stock or their planes.
The planes.
At the last minute. And hey, really quickly, this is James and Rob from the future. Now, this video is all about whether we got the seats that we wanted and did we get Qatar'd. Well, I just want to say that we did, so keep watching and you'll find out more. But we are hoping that at least on one leg of our flight from Doha to Cape Town, we will be in a QSuite. So of course, we are going to share all of that with you. But we also want to talk about how we managed to book this flight.
Yeah, we managed to get business class for about £527 each.
Yeah, and just to give that a bit of context, if we were buying this as a business class ticket, it would cost us, what, £5,000?
I'd say 3,000 to 4,000.
So yeah, so huge saving. We've almost got it for 10% of the price. So stick with us. We'll show you what happens on our travel day to Cape Town, and we'll tell you about how we managed to get these seats for 10% of the price. Club room, which is the business class lounge that you get into with Qatar, which is a very small lounge, but luckily it's not very busy. It's actually really nicely sort of laid out, and because it's small and not too busy, it's really nice. There's Jane sitting over there, and you can help yourself to coffees, and there's some self-service pastries here, and you can also order off the menu, and it's the breakfast menu. Hopefully you can see that. So we left, we got the 9 o'clock train, and it's now 10 past...
9 train.
Half past 9 train, and it's now 10 past 11. And we've cleared security and made our way to the lounge. And the nice thing with Qatar and Gatwick is that we get priority security, fast tracks we got through really quickly. Anyway, we're going to have our breakfast, kill some time, and then we'll see you on the plane. So our plane that's going to take us from Gatwick to Doha.
And relax.
And this is the seat we thought it would be as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually really comfortable. Even though it's not QSuite, they're a lot more comfortable and wider than a QSuite. So even though you haven't got privacy, it's a lot more comfortable.
So we are on board our first flight. This is Gatwick to Doha, and we expected to be in the older seat, which is exactly what this is. It's still very comfortable. What plane are we on, James?
It's a 787.
Anyway, this is an older plane, but of course it's a 6-hour flight, and then our second flight to Cape Town should be on a QSuite, so we will see. And on this flight we both got the middle seat so that we can be next to each other, but then on the way back, because we are flying separately, we have got the window seats, which are obviously a bit more private. So anyway, we're waiting for a glass of champagne by the very friendly cabin crew. The boarding was a bit crazy. They board the business class people first, and then you wait just after the check-in area, wait there for ages, and then they herd you down the gangway, wait there for ages, let all the people with walking disabilities to get on first, and then we got on the plane. But it was all good and very efficient, and the flight's supposed to be on time, so we will see. I'll do a really quick seat tour. Okay, we've taken off. Didn't get a very good view from the middle seat, but the in-flight service has started, and I've got a lovely glass of Sauvignon Blanc and some nuts, and James has got another glass of the rosé. The wine is very good, and I think one of the things that makes Qatar so good is the quality of the staff and the service and the friendliness and helpfulness of the staff. So far so good. We took off on time, so we will see how we get on the first leg of the trip. I'll just show you around the seat really quickly. There's not a ton to show you really. You've got a large in-flight entertainment with lots of good movies. You've got the tray table here that pulls right forward. Another little table here. Table at the back, and the amenity kit, which I'll show in a minute. Now there's not a ton of storage, but there's storage here. And obviously you've got the overhead bins, and there's the foot locker down there, and obviously some storage underneath. You can move this armrest up and down, controlled by this panel, which also has a massage feature, which is really interesting. And then you can pull the center partition up and down. But obviously we want it down because we're traveling together. You've got little side lights, there's water. The crew took our food order before we took off, and I'm looking forward to eating that because I'm pretty peckish. And just chilling at the moment. I'm watching a movie. Okay, let's have a look at the amenity kit. This is a Diptyque brand, and it comes in a box on this first flight, but I think on the second flight it will be in a pouch. And I'm sure you've seen all this before, but it includes some body lotion, some face cream, some lip balm, some eau de toilette, so some perfume, and then the obligatory socks and eye mask as well. So Diptyque's a really good brand, but we really miss the old facial mist that we used to get, that Qatar used to give out before, which they stopped doing. But we've got a bit of a collection of at home, so I've actually got one with me now. Anyway, I'm going to head back to my Sauvignon Blanc, my nuts, and we'll be back when the food arrives. For the food, and Qatar's famous for a little flickering candle, some breads, and we've got some tomato olive oil, which I'm told is very good. It's butter salt pepper, and the Arabic meze is on its way. Okay, so a little bouche has arrived, which is lobster with caviar, which looks pretty good. So in the spirit of letting you guys know what we think, let me try it. Yeah, that is really nice. My glass of wine partly got emptied before they came and filled it, and lots of people on YouTube have said that this oil with tomato and chili is really nice, and they are not wrong. It's very, very good. Okay, the signature Arabic meze has arrived, which has got tabbouleh, hummus, James, something, I can't remember what that is. It's a warm pizza bread. So I'm excited to eat this. I know it'll be really good. My main course has just arrived, and I ordered the mushroom risotto, which is the nemesis of James, but it looks very good. He's ordered the steak, which is an interesting choice because I'm never sure about steak on planes, but let me taste this. That's really good, sweet and creamy. So I'm going to enjoy this, and we'll see what James's main course looks like. To be honest, I was surprised James went for this, but let's see what it's like. Not bad. Not bad for steak in the sky. Oh, my risotto was nice. Could have been a little bit warmer, and the mushrooms were a bit tough, but it was very tasty. I'd give it a 7 out of 10. And before you know it, that's been whisked away, and the cheese course has arrived, which looks very
very good. I've got to say the service is top notch, and the quality of the food is kind of a mid-range restaurant, but the service kind of makes you feel very special. So let's see how the cheese tastes. I'm sure we can't really go wrong with cheese.
A few moments later.
Well, we made it to the first part of the journey. Wasn't too bad. Nice smooth flight. Comfortable chairs, and we're now heading into Doha. And it looks like we have to get a bus. Getting on a bus. So we're just walking to the other side of the airport. We thought we'd get a bit of exercise, and you can see how great the terminal looks. And it's midnight, just after midnight here, and it is seriously busy. I think this is a peak time for airport departures.
So we're in Al Marjan Orchard. So this is the north part of the terminal, and it wraps all the way around the top here. You can look down into the forest here, so if you come and have a look. And this is the orchard itself, the garden. And you can see all the way to where the other sign is on the opposite side. That's where the a la carte restaurant is. At the moment it's really busy because it's midnight, so all the main flights are coming in and out. And yeah, you can imagine in the day this is going to be spectacular because you've got all the glass panels at the top, so you get all the light come through. It's lovely and chilled. Yeah, go find somewhere nice and quiet. Everywhere looks quiet here, so it's just literally walking around, find a little nook to place ourselves in, and then just chill.
Okay, I thought I'd do a quick summation of our first part of travel. So we're in Doha now. Took about 6 hours and 15 minutes on our first flight. Wasn't a QSuite, but the seat was very comfortable. And I think what makes Qatar so good is the exceptional service and a fantastic cabin crew. And the food was really good, as you saw. Then we landed and we had to get a bus. And they have a business class bus for people in business class. And it must have taken 10 to 15 minutes. We thought we were driving back to Heathrow or Gatwick to get from the plane to the terminal. And then, of course, this is Doha's one big terminal in case you've never been here before, and that means you've got to go from one end to the other like we did. And so we kind of did a 10-minute walk, I guess, down the Travelator, and I think this club room is the closest one to our gate. I think we're still about another 10 minutes from the gates, and then our plan is to get on the next flight, which is 9 hours to Cape Town, and try and sleep, not eat, and then just have something get woken up for breakfast. And we land about 10:30 in Cape Town. We're ready to go and begin our adventure. So let's hope that we are going to be on a QSuite. That's what we're hoping, but as you know, Qatar is really good at changing things. They've already changed things twice for us, so we're hoping that we are on a QSuite, but we will see, and of course you will see it as well. So we'll see you when we're getting on the plane.
I wish you were a pleasant journey aboard to this Qatar Airways
that
flight.
was a
Thank you for
complete fiasco, and we wanted a story for this video. We talked about whether we would get Qatar'd, and indeed we were. So it was absolute carnage at the gate. We were the last business class people to check in, and they were reissuing everybody's tickets. So James and I are no longer sitting together, but we are sitting in the aisle seats instead of the middle seats. But luckily the seats are still QSuites. I'm not quite sure why, and it's the same plane, it's just a different configuration or something was going on. But anyway, complete carnage. We crammed onto the bus and that took another 20 minutes, so we are now late leaving, but hopefully we will make up the time and hopefully I'll get some bloody sleep. So I'll do a tour once we get going of the seats, but just kind of an update. Okay. We are still waiting to take off, so I thought I would do a quick seat review. You've seen many of these before, but obviously the nice thing about the QSuite is that the door closes all the way. Got some reading lights, all your controls here, and your control for the in-flight entertainment system. Big tray, big TV, footwell, quite a narrow chair, and very limited amount of storage
ladies and
there.
gentlemen, this is the captain speaking. We apologize for the slight delay on the departure.
Yep, delayed because of lack of paperwork apparently. Anyway, as I was saying, some shelf area here and I'm in the seat that's closest to the window, so it's going backwards, but it's kind of the most private, I guess. And as you can see, I've changed into my very sexy Qatar pyjamas, so the plan is to try and sleep on this flight. It's about 9 hours, so we'll see how that works out, because I'm not very good at sleeping on planes even when they're flatbeds like this, but we will see. Up for dinner time with a mattress, top of thing, pillowcases.
A few moments later.
So just like that, 6 or 7 hours have passed and it's time for breakfast, and as ever Qatar lay out the table really nicely, and I've just got some yogurt and some orange juice and some pancakes, and a cappuccino are coming. It's been a super bumpy flight. I tried to sleep through it, but didn't get a ton of sleep, if I'm honest. But I'm not really good at sleeping on planes, especially when they're bumpy, but that's just the route coming down to Africa. So we've got about 2.5 hours to go. We're about half an hour late because of the delay leaving. It turned out that there was someone ill, I think, on the plane, and they had to take her off and remove her baggage, but goodness knows why she got on in the first place, but I don't quite know the story. Anyway, we eventually left, and we shall be arriving in 2 hours and 15 minutes time. I'll come back to you and show you the rest of the breakfast. And the last of my breakfast, which is the pancakes, and as with everything else, it's super well presented, so hopefully it tastes as good as it looks. Made it, got through immigration really quickly. And we are now just waiting for our bags. Then we're going to pick up our car, and then we'll do a bit of a summary of the whole trip and what we thought of Qatar, and whether we think you should use Qatar, and also we'll break down how exactly much we paid and how we got it for such a cheap rate. Do a wrap up after a long 24 hours pretty much of traveling from London to Cape Town on Qatar. So yeah, James, so first of all, let's talk about how we managed to get the flight for just over £500. That's a business class flight for just over £500.
Using the point sales. So keep an eye on either Avios with BA or Qatar. They tend to have Avios sales, where you can get an extra 50% points.
Just look at, I think it's about twice a year, isn't it, that they do two for the price of one. So you're going to get double the amount of points if you need to buy them, and that makes it way cheaper. And like James says, if you've got 150,000, you're just going to pay the airport taxes and so on, which is why it was £500. So the other thing we talked about at the beginning was that Qatar is really famous for Qataring you, which is a verb that we've invented, which means that you think you're going on one plane on one type of seat, you end up on another. And unfortunately, this happened to us on this trip as well, didn't it? So all was going smoothly well. You've seen in the first part of the trip, we were on the plane that we expected, and then we got to the gate, and for once in our lives, we got there fairly late, and it was complete pandemonium, wasn't it?
Yeah, they changed the aircraft. So it was still an A350, it's still QSuite, so it just happened to be a bigger cabin. But for some reason, all hell seemed to break loose for business class. They were reassigning everybody's seats at the gate just before boarding. So it was a bit crazy. We had the pairs seats in the middle, the sort of couple seats. But there was a family there of 4 that were kicking off, that they were all split up and they wanted to sit together. So we ended up having to give up our seats.
Yeah, we had 2 aisle seats in the end, so I was facing backwards.
We had window seats, so
window seats.
Yeah, it was actually better. Although we weren't sitting together, we were sitting literally in front of each other. But yeah, at least we had the windows on that.
And it was all good. It was just complete chaos. We ended up getting crammed on a bus. All the business class buses had gone. We crammed on a bus, got to the and there was like a traffic jam. It was like the M25 trying to get to the terminal to the plane. We eventually got on the plane, and it was delayed. and it was delayed, and it was delayed. And it turns out in the end,
someone was taken off apparently ill, but they didn't look to getting off the plane, but who knows?
yeah, we were a bit suspect about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we ended up taking off an hour late, and we ended up arriving in Cape Town about half an hour late, so it made up a bit of time. But I've got to say, it was the bumpiest flight, and you guys know I don't really like flying, but it was the bumpiest flight. Literally the whole 9 hours was bumpy, except for the last bit, ironically, coming into Cape Town. So what would you say about Qatar? Would you fly with them again? What score did you give it out of 10?
I'd say on this occasion it would be a 7. Usually I would give them 8. The only thing that let it down was the equipment change, just the way it was done last minute. The staff, you can't fault, even the gate agents, you could see they were stressed trying to get everybody booked out. And considering the flight was leaving at 1 o'clock in the morning, you've got loads of stressed out passengers. These poor guys, I work in travel, I can see the stress on their face. They're trying to keep a smile, but...
And this flipping South African family were being so aggressive. We were just standing there, and in the end they gave our seats to them to keep them quiet, and it was all good, it was all fine. We got here safe and sound, that's the main thing. So it was a nice flight, but I've got to say, if I could fly directly to Cape Town, I would, because it makes an 11 or 12 hour flight as opposed to what was 17 hours in the end. And anyway, we got ahead safe and sound. That's the main thing, and it was all good. So there you go. That's our first video. Now, in next week's video, we are traveling on the garden route, and we are doing pretty much the same journey that we did 10 years ago. And we want to see how much has it changed in 10 years. Do we still love it as much as we did then? And should you do a garden route tour as well? So make sure you join us next week, where we'll be telling you all about that. But meanwhile, this is
James
and Rob signing off for now.
Bye.